Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Design Recharge. I'm your host, Diane Gibbs. This is our 6th year, and I just realized that just a minute ago, talking to Jason, I was like, oh, it's been 6 years. So this month marks 6 years. It was really the end of May in 2012 that I started Design Recharge. So thank you guys for coming along and joining in. So if you're new here, there's a chat, and you can always type questions there, and I kind of act like a DJ. So if you have a question for Jason, and just to let you guys know, we might be covering some things that are a little bit sensitive. So if you have little kids in the car, you may or may not want to listen to this right now, because we're going to be talking about cancer and some other things that go along with it. But there's definitely a lot of hope we will be talking about, because my guest, I was at WMC Fest and I met his boss or somebody he works with. And she said, you've got to interview Jason. And I was like, okay. So then I met with them online and I was like, yep, I got to interview him. And then I decided from that, I wanted to create a whole month of a theme that was really about struggles, because I think that we always need to have somebody to mimic, especially when we're in a struggle, so that we have hope that somebody else that has gone through this already, not mimic like you have to do everything they did, but that it's somebody's already been on that path, so you don't feel so alone. So this series is from struggle to soar, because I feel like you've beaten cancer, your now arms are out, you're soaring, and you're really helping a lot of other people going through everything that you've been through. Now you're actually helping so many other people. So we're going to get into that. So I'm excited to welcome my guest. This is episode, I think, 258 or 259. I can't remember. Jason Shults. So Jason, I'm so excited to have you. You have a great energy. I can't wait for y'all to get to know Jason a little bit. He's got a ton of energy, and I'm so excited. So Jason, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for allowing me on here. It's a privilege, and I like it. It's awesome. Like this is new to me, but I thought, you know what? It's an awesome cause. Let's do this. So it's painless. It's a little unnerving, but it is painless, and it's actually kind of fun. So
yeah, it's just a conversation between us. So we're gonna get started. So kind of give us a little bit of the backstory. Again, we are talking about you were diagnosed with cancer. Kind of give us a timeline and where you were working and what kind of, maybe a little bit of history about your design.
Okay. I'll start from the beginning. My name is Jason Shults. I have the privilege of being a senior graphic designer at The Ohio State University. In June of 2012, I was having some issues around this area in my neck, kind of playing it off, kind of, maybe I'm sick, maybe I'm just tired, worn down, whatnot. But after diagnosis and kind of really looking into it and kind of pushing and asking for answers, I was sadly diagnosed with stage 4 nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Unbeknownst to me, it was hiding in the perfect spot. Basically, if you were to draw a line behind my nose into the pharynx area, it was tucked up in there, hiding away, just very menacingly growing and waiting to do its duty. I was very fortunate working at Ohio State. I still personally believe, had I not been here, I don't know if I would be here, because you don't normally walk away from stage 4.
Right.
I was very privileged to be at the right place at the right time. I met an amazing staff. In my experience, all of our medical people over in that area are amazing, but I just lucked out. He kind of read me pretty quick up front. I'm the type, I don't really relish BS. So he was like, here's what we're going to do. You've got XYZ in treatment, and we're going for the win. Like you asked for, this is how we're going to do it. And this is probably the second worst treatment we're going to throw at you. So it's not going to be fun. But we're going to stick with you. And amazingly, 5.5 years later, here I sit.
It's 6 years now.
Yeah, I actually, Yeah. Duh. Sorry.
Me and you have our anniversaries the same month.
Yeah, that's it was a very gosh,
So
it
you
was
got
all
diagnosed. How much longer did you start treatment? Like how many?
I actually, as soon as I was diagnosed, it was so advanced that I was immediately in treatment. I think it was the day I was actually at work, received a text from my doctor. It says, you need to call me now. And you just kind of get that feeling like, oh, okay. So got a hold of him and he said, I know you didn't want to do this, over the phone, but you also asked for quick, efficient. I'm sorry, my friend, this is what you have. You have stage 4 nasal pharyngeal carcinoma. We need to get you fitted for a mask. We need to get you fitted for equipment, treatment procedures, game plan, everything. And we need you up here in a couple of hours. So it was like the day of. I'm like, I don't even know how I really got started. I obviously got started and made it, but it was such a whirlwind. Like, yeah, um, I had 35 radiation treatments. I would go 5 days a week, and I joked I had the weekends off for good behavior. Yeah, right. Um, and then I had 6 calculated doses of 3 different kinds of chemotherapy. I had cisplatin, carboplatin, and the funniest of all, the third one, which is the nastiest, I had to deal with a chemo called 5FU. No joke, not even out of me. And I thought, yeah, that's ironic. But kind of, I guess to sum up what I learned from part of that treatment and going and during that was it sort of put my head down, helped. Like I kind of put blinders on. I thought, one's down. All right, we've got Tuesday and Tuesday's down, Wednesday's down, Thursday's down. Yeah, diligence.
Were you trying to work at this time?
I tried a little bit in the beginning, but honestly, when the chemotherapy started hitting my body along with radiation, because they explained, they're like, usually a couple weeks into radiation, people get zonked out and like your body reacts because it's not nice things we're doing to it. So I tried, but then it just kind of, and I said, you know what, my focus right now is to stay alive, like, and to heal and get through this, and then I'll worry about getting back to work.
So that was good. But so then there was some sort of short-term or long-term disability through Ohio State.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
somebody's already mentioned this. So I actually know the answer because I worked with somebody who is from the Ohio State University. So explain why because there's actually another Ohio State University so this is the main one.
I've heard all kinds of legends, Lord knows what. It's because of another university is what I've heard the most of. But
Okay, so now let's backtrack a little bit. You had gotten diagnosed, but how long had you been working at Ohio State?
I came in October 4th of 2010.
Okay, so you hadn't been there that long. What had you done previously? Because going in-house can be it can be really good sometimes, then it can be not so good. So what were you doing design-wise before then?
Previous to that, I was at a smaller firm over in my hometown at the time of Hilliard. I was an art director over there helping with kind of business to business design where one of our clients was Donato's on a large business scale. They'd come to us and say, we're looking at this initiative for new uniforms, new branding for this store, this, that, and the other. What can you help provide? And we filled in a lot of the gaps, not just, the standard branding materials, the look, feel. We did uniforms, name tags, hats, crazy, really whatever they had in mind. We could find a distributor, an item to apply it to their branding or whatnot. So it was like an ASI company for business to business.
Okay, so then you get the job at Ohio State and you start doing similar things. What were you doing at Ohio State?
When I came in, I was actually brought into our advancement area in fundraising, and I have helped with communications on getting the science and stories out for what the university makes, puts forth, our accomplishments. I help with the communication between our donors and our alumni, things like that. I've actually had the privilege. I kind of have my hands in all kinds of stuff here now. But when I first came in, it was, I was the newbie starting out with a standard, here's a nice brochure project, to going to some XYZ clientele for alumni, and, started with a simple trifold, and now I'm here.
So, but I mean, I work at a university also, so it's a amazing place because there's so much to do, there's so much to learn, and you have a really great energy. You laugh a lot. So I think that has been, I think, a huge part of you getting through cancer. But I think, so you were working, it wasn't like you were brand new, but you hadn't been there for 10 years, right?
Yeah, I was still a rookie, right? Yeah, I was still a rookie, just excited to be there, and the green showed. But you know what? Whatever.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, because I did a little research, and in the UK, 1 in every 2 people is diagnosed with cancer. And in the United States, it's 1 every 3. And 1 in every 3. So if there are 4 people that you work with, 6 people that you work with on your team, 2 more than likely are going to deal with cancer. It doesn't mean they're going to die from cancer, but they're going to have a battle. And Absolutely. It is a battle. And you had a huge battle. It wasn't just stage 1, 2, 4. It only goes to 5, right? There's only 5 stages.
Yeah, 5 doesn't hang around long till it finishes the job either. So it's, yeah.
You had a serious battle that you were in. So how does, and I don't know, so what advice would you get? I was like, where am I in my questions? But I'm on track, actually.
Yeah. Yes, you are. I'm checking right here.
Okay, good. Keep me in line. So what advice would you give someone if me or one of my colleagues is going to deal with cancer? What is something you would want as a designer? I think that there are some differences, right? We maybe need some different things, maybe not, but what would you tell if somebody that I was friends with got diagnosed with cancer? What's something I should do to help them?
So in prepping for our gathering, one thing I always tell everyone, cancer.org has a tremendous amount of real information, how to deal, how to cope, how to just approach it all. So I always recommend you go there for details, but from experience and research, I've set down, I have a top 3 do list just for anyone diagnosed. As far as for creative to creative, I have a story I can sneak in there real quick with it. Someone did for me. And I also have a 3 don't do list. And these, I found these are awesome when I was when I had these exhibited towards me, it's like, yeah, this is how you do it. Without further rambling, I will give you my 3 just do for someone who needs it.
Okay.
You just point blank, let them know you care. You talk to them however you deal appropriate, and you should be observant to their responses and their body language. But you let them know genuinely, like this, it's not about, oh, hi, how are you? Good day, this and that. It's you're sick. I want to help you. You let them know that you care and you're respectful about that statement, mean it. Like, be ready to back it up, or don't offer, because now's not the time for false optimism. So no matter what, you respect their decisions about treatment. Even, here's the rough part, even if you yourself do not agree, you are not in their shoes. Your job is to not overlord or give awesome advice or whatever. You're there for support to another human that you care about. So whatever they decide, You look them dead in the eye after you've hugged them and you say, I got your back.
Hmm.
Number 3, when you offer to help, do it. Do it in concrete ways. Like, just, even if it's something little, do it. Hey, I'm going to bring you guys dinner on this night. And if like, no, you don't have to, say, no, I really want to, like, I want, you know what I mean? You don't push it to they're uncomfortable. Always read them, always be respectful of their wishes, but don't offer things you're really not going to do, because it may not be a big deal to you when you do it at first. You're like, I'm going to make a meal and I love cooking and I want to take this to make. I want to tell you from experience, when those people come through the door with help, with tangible help, and they mean it and they're consistent, and you have no idea like how awesome it is to look up. I mean, it is, that's part of the hope. Like, everyone joining in and helping is part of the treatment. Like, no man is an island, especially during this. Like, and no woman's an island. Forgive me, but like, yeah, when you if you feel compelled to truly help, then truly help. Treat them like your family.
Okay, so being there. So some things that maybe other people did for you was bringing food. That sometimes people do that. What else was something that other people did? Can you tell us the story?
Well, okay, here, from a creative to a creative. I had an awesome coworker, and he and I, we didn't just appreciate design, we appreciated fine arts and everything that goes with it. Like, I'm one of those, I dabble. Lord, I'm not happy until my hands are yucky and I'm looking at some museum. Like, really, I mean, and I feel like everyone on here understands, like, you just, like, you're into that beautiful thing. Whether I collect rock posters, truly just, oh, wow, I love rock posters. My coworker, when I first got ill, he would talk to me and things and just check on morale and this, that, and the other. And he was very astute and caught, he noticed my morale and just my attitude was kind of flogging. And it will, you will have bad days. But instead of really doing anything to kind of, he said, I didn't want to get in your hair, man. No pun intended. But he went out and he found a really cool poster that he and I had always talked about. Got an original print of the thing. It was expensive, and quietly had it mailed to me. And I remember being so sick coming back from treatment one day, and UPS shows up, and I'm like, well, what is this? And it was just a note from him, hope is,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, forgive me, that one gets to me a little, but it was like, I hope this helps, buddy. I miss you. I expect you back here soon. Like, really. And that was another thing I found, not to keep rambling on, but getting back to the design and the creative, it helped establish a routine to bring you back to being human, brings you back to who we are as creative. And so, that's kind of the beginnings of the therapy question. So I'll wait.
So what would you tell somebody, because I don't want to forget this, what would you tell somebody who was diagnosed? Because a lot of these, the 1, 2, and 3 that you gave are terrific, but sometimes we need to know what to ask. And so cancer.org would be a great resource. But what else? Because were you doing this alone? I know you have kids. How old were your kids?
They were early teens.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 3 daughters. I know.
So were you having to take yourself to treatment? Were you having to?
I had an amazing support system, which was my next point. That is key. And it doesn't always have to be the traditional support system. I was very privileged. Mine was excellent. My daughters, Darlene really helped a lot. Family stepped up. I had friends come and say, we want to help get him there, so pick the day and I'll take him on Mondays, Fridays, whatever. That's part of it. The thing that I'm believe it or not, I can be very iron-headed, very stubborn. So one thing that you may encounter with the person in treatment, they'll never ask for help. I don't know why. I don't understand. I was like, I'm okay. I'll do this. And it's not the time to ball up and go in a corner. Like how you attack this as a village.
I love that.
And if you don't have a traditional support system, there are wonderful social workers. Talk to your doctor, talk to anyone. Listen, my situation's awful, doc. I don't have children. I don't have a spouse. I don't have, can you help me? It's rough reaching out for that kind of help. But I can tell you from experience, there are people out there that truly find life's joy on helping someone ill, injured, and they're great people out there. There's still good people in the world.
Yeah.
And they will help you. You just got to find them and ask them.
So maybe don't be afraid to ask, and reach out to people who you know will be there for you morale wise, because it sounded like that was a really important part. But what was that friend's name?
I had a couple, but my main one was my best friend, Bub. Sadly, he has passed away a few years back, but he had sadly suffered through it with his mother. He had got her through treatment successfully. And he just had this iron-sided approach, like, you will do this, you will win, and you're not going anywhere, and it was like, we're going to approach it this way and just assume the best, because if the worst happens, you can't really do anything about it. And he would explain, it's not worth sweating this, man. Keep focused, get through these treatments one day at a time. And he was my saint.
Yeah, he sounds amazing. So having him there to be real with, but also for him to be looking completely optimistic, having that one person that you could always turn to, even if you got down, he didn't let you stay down for too long, right?
And that's a huge deal for family or friends or anyone that's in treatment or helping as a caregiver or anyone. I mean, please forgive me all if it sounds hokey, but a positive attitude, a legitimate one, it can really help. Like to give a short story, I was very sad and kind of broken when I got diagnosed. I thought, this is it. Like, I'm so young, I don't know what to do. My children, just crying, kind of hysterical. And everyone started kind of joining in with me, and it was all kind of a sad fest. And I remember Bub walking in and just sort of walking up to me and going, smack, you're going to be all right. Now, you've had your tears, and this is awesome. Now get up and let's figure this out. And it's like, okay, I don't feel that way, but I trust you. And I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but it worked for me. So,
right. Everybody has to do their own thing. So,
yes.
But so treatment was for how many months?
My last day that myself and my family demanded it be proclaimed was December 17th of 2013. I had gone through 6 rounds of chemo. 3 were in-house at the James. They took a day each. And then the other 3, I had to wear this 1988 looking cell phone bag with a huge IV plugged into my port in my arm, which sometimes you get a port here for medications or they go here. So I had to wear this awful fashion accessory along with being poisoned. And those sessions went for 4 days each. So I had to sleep with the thing. I had to walk around. I had to just and my closest buddies were like, nice cell phone, Dad. I'm like, and the humor helps with me. Now, again, it may not work with everyone, but they made me laugh because truly it helped relieve the stress and fear of what I was going through. And but that went on from about June 2012 to December 17th of 2013,
were you working any of that time?
I started in the beginning and tried to, but in my system, when those 3 chemotherapies hit with the first in-house injection, I went down. I ended up in a wheelchair. I couldn't really control my legs. I couldn't, and it was strange. It was a strange. I mean, they warn you of all kinds of things, but it's what makes it so scary is kind of the unpredictability sometimes of even the treatments. Or now, granted, I'm not. Yeah, the treatments are amazing, but everybody reacts different sometimes. And mine was, yeah, I went down. I had issues with even swallowing or drinking. It was like chewing on glass. So I had a feeding tube installed, but I got angry at it and I wasn't going to use it. So it was like, I got very ill and shedding a lot of weight. So I think I lost 109 pounds over that. Yeah.
Wow.
Great diet. I don't recommend the plan though. I'm thankful I lost it, but that diet plan is awful.
Yeah, not one you want to pick up just for fun.
No, ma'am.
So Macy wants to know if you are an ordained minister.
I actually am. It's funny you ask. I had a dear friend, one of my closest best friends many years ago. We had talked about me marrying him. I did it out of I did it out of fun to see if I could do it legally, because I love him to death, and I knew his wife. I'm like, we've got to marry those two because she's the best thing that ever happened to him. So I went off and filed the paperwork for it to do marriages and things. Now my father is an actual registered theological minister, preacher. He's the true official. The preacher's kid just did it. Kind of a little orneriness and a whole lot of love for his best friend. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so let's get back to recovery. So as you did you recovery, you're going to treatment and then you have recovery, but then you're also in recovery after you're in remission or after you're done with the treatments, and you go on they go through checkups, like maybe it's every month for a while, and then it's once every 3 months, and then you go to every 6 months, and then I think it's either every 6 months or every year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
that's what's awesome about my situation is mathematically, if you can make it to your 5-year mark without a recurrence, he said the math of it ever returning is like minimal. And I said, so when I get to that point, because they're very cautious about saying, cancer-free, things like that, because in some cases you just don't know. Some cases people have fought it to a standstill. They have it lurking, but they have fought it to a standstill. So they want to watch the verbiage out of respect, which is completely awesome. But like, oh goodness, I lost track of what I was rambling. Yeah,
that's okay. We were talking about, you go through 6 months and then you go once every.
Yeah. My apologies. I had to go every month and check in, blood work, the whole thing. I had this very large, painful scope. They would go down my throat and thing, and it was. Excuse me, I even cough now talking about it.
I wish I could give you a water.
No, I have one. Hang on.
Okay.
My apologies. And then I went up to
Brutus took your spot there. Look right behind you. Yeah. Right.
I went through the whole gamut of all the check-ins, all the awesome needles and blood work and scanxiety, which by the way is a very scary thing to deal with when you go every time and you're like, okay, are they going to tell me I have kids? Am I okay? Every time you go through it, it's awful. It's normal. Sadly, it's normal. But I made my 5-year mark. This being my 6th year, obviously I'm great at math, but last year, I hit my 5-year mark, and he looked at me and he said, man, I don't know how you did it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you're telling me that now? But he said, look, man, it is like, I don't know really, a lot of this didn't even make sense now looking back. I just didn't want to say anything. But he said, you know, I'm not necessarily one to believe in people are put here for reasons because he's a science guy. I get it. But he said, I'm beginning to wonder in your case. So that's always stuck in my head since he said it. My mother says that you didn't suffer for this for no reason. So when this opportunity came up, it was a natural fit. So,
all right. So let's talk about that a little bit, because you've really taken this. I had never heard of anybody doing this. So were you meaning that you do a ton of pro bono work now for cancer research, and then you also donate your freelance work to cancer research, which it's like, so before, I mean, you have 3 girls, you know, girls are kind of expensive. So
yeah.
before were you doing freelance before you got sick?
I was doing some. I'm more focused my career. I've always been more of an in-house designer. Yes, I did some freelance, but I had a whole different approach before treatment.
What was it? Kind of paint that picture for us.
Okay,
paint a picture of your life before.
I looked like the love child of John Goodman, and I was, I don't want to say self-centered, but I wasn't as enlightened as I am now about just looking at perspective and things. And yeah, I was just, you know, average Midwestern fella working in design, thinking it was awesome, this and that. But it was, I don't know, when you go through what I went through, you have a life perspective shown to you that just like, wow. And I kind of slowly would watch things in fundraisers I go to, just because I would, you know, I'm a survivor, so I would show up, and then I'd kind of casually look around and I'm like, that's an amazing hat, or that shirt they did for this gathering was excellent, except this is ugly. Like, you know, and it was, no, I went in and used my skills, and I thought there's always some need for fundraising or something awesome to raise money for any good cause.
Right.
Mine just happened to be, you know, like I'm a little bit, you mess with me, and I thought, yeah, cancer messed with me. I was, how can I get back in an appropriate manner? So I thought,
so this is your way. This is way fighting back is fundraising for cancer. I love that. That's awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about this before we completely get through and start talking about your work and what you've done. Because you talked about that design actually became part of the healing. It was it became therapy for you. Why was that so crucial? And can you kind of paint that picture of what you were doing, how that really made a difference?
I backed up and thought, you know what, if I'm going to keep doing this till obviously I drop into design, I want to like reevaluate and do it my way. Like, and not that I wasn't open to input or, you know, anything like that. It's like, okay, you're all to this point in your life. You're going to keep doing design because you just can't do anything different. I don't want to. Like, I enjoy the creative process, the beautiful things made, all of that. So I kind of backed up and thought, what do I enjoy about this part? Oh, I love sketching. So how are we going to improve on that? I love, like when I was in school, like 110 years ago, we started out was like, you know, you were to do 100 idea sketches, little thumbnails, things like that. And I used to, oh God, you know, and all this, wow, I can whip out a winner, just one sketch. I didn't understand what they mean by you need to love the process until after treatment.
Wow.
So I sat down and I thought, all right, so you need to do X, Y, and Z to create things. However, the creatives, like out there, everyone has their own different way, but you have your stages for creating things. So how can I make those stages even more enjoyable for me? I changed what kind of pen and things I use. I use a big fat marker or a Sharpie now with the Crescent no bleed paper, so I can go crazy with a Sharpie and just let it out, because we can always refine it on a Mac, but I went back to more of the hands-on for the idea creation, and it was more rewarding. It was I don't know, it got my hands, and when I was a kid painting and getting into messes, then it was a way to kind of do that. I changed from using a mouse to a stylus to help draw more. Even if I'm writing an email, it lends more toward the artistic wants, needs, things like that. I kind of evaluated what I was going to do in design and catered a lot of it towards my likes and needs. With a filter like it, you're still going to have to make this awesome stuff for your day job, night job, freelance. But I don't just sit down and do this one regimented process I thought was awesome for me. And it's like, yeah, do it. I'll do it my way and adapt what I've been taught, and got more comfortable with the creation process, and therefore really started to learn to love the process. So
I love that. Okay. So as you're healing, right? So this is after you're done with chemo after December 2013. Is that when you kind of get back into it? When do you go back to work? And then when did you start designing? Because did you start designing before you went back to work?
I sit around and scribbled ideas. Like I have this strange habit when I'm out in public, wherever, whatever's been designed creatively, billboards, banners, fashion, cars, and just I love the creative process of every part of it. So I always try to wag a sketchbook or things around, even a little small one, and just, oh, this is a great idea. And it acts as it was acting as a logbook for when I got back to work. Like I'd have a plethora of ideas ready to go, just swap out some content. And it also acted as like a diary on that day. I decided to redesign, a balloon logo or whatever. It didn't matter it was the act of doing that kind of took my mind off some of the pain, some of the sickness. Like I found that the faster you can get back in life to doing it is what you love, the faster you can heal from this, the faster you feel like a human, the faster you'll get back to everything you had before and then some. They call it the new you when you're out of treatment. And it can be from injury, it can be from anything. And mine is from perspective. Like I was very lucky. It made me realize, hey, you have a career being a creator, and like this is like you're an adult getting able to do this. Like really? You started off with comics and Crayolas when you were a kid. Like and it just kind of taught me to really love what we do. I mean, what we do can be trying, yes, but when you think about it, being a designer, animator, illustrator, comic creator, or a factory, or like now, yes, they're needed and it is wonderful work. Don't get me wrong. My family was hard, wonderful factory workers, but yeah, it really taught me to appreciate the creative field. Like. And answer the question, how does it work? Everyone on here, I'm sure, has heard the term art therapy. So all it is me applying art therapy using sketches for today's 2 projects. It's me taking those hand sketches with all the funny notes and just my open, unembellished thoughts about it and the creativity flowing. And I record that and then I refine it and go on. And I just kind of fell in love with the whole process, not just the end product. So
do you think you became a better observer of people as a result of this? Because it seems like observing the design around you was also a big part of like, hey, you know what, I could do something to make this better. So when go ahead.
No. Honestly, I think if creatives, we can all do that. Like it's Absolutely. Not. I don't want to go out and badmouth people's efforts. That's not
right.
It's like, but we are professionals, and it was just kind of a habit. It's a habit for me to see visual things that are awesome and wrong, and there are rules and ethics to design, and when it's a worthy cause, I just hate to see them waste their limited funding and things on some crap shirt or keychains are awesome if you're into keychains. But no, I mean, but think, yeah, and
but a lot of times people are getting somebody who isn't a professional to do this because there isn't any funding.
Right.
And so that this was a way that you saw that you weren't bad mouthing anybody. You're just saying, hey, I'm a professional. I do this for a living. I would love to do this to help you so that we can raise more money and help cancer research?
There were instances, and this is probably backwards to everything I've been taught, but there were instances I identified things and then made the whole branding and my suggestions and everything, and then went to them and said, hi, here's who I am. I love the cause. This is why, blah, blah. My heart's in it because of this. This is what I do for a living. Do you have 5 minutes to talk about something I'd like to donate? And usually you can blow them out of the water. And I do strange. I hate to say it's a rule about that, but when I go and do these things, I kind of assign myself as art director and everything, meaning a lot of people like to have awesome input. This is amazing branding set, but can you change everything to pink? Your company is blue and green, and it's, so in that case, I would caution people, when you do this, be ready to go and stand up and say, I think it's a great color choice. Love pink, got shoes and a hat at home. But for the companies, the brand equity, what you're really trying to accomplish and raise money, let's stick with this, because I feel this would, you have to be kind of ready to defend your work sometimes for no reason, but it happens. We've all run into it. But if you choose to do this for a great cause, sort of make the commitment to cross all T's, dot all I's, be ready to play the art director role, be ready to play maybe even the sales role when you go meet with them. But
right,
if your heart's really in it, like, make something that you would think is amazing from research, professional input from coworkers. Things don't just whack something together and run off to them and say, and then get offended by it. But bring in your pros. I mean, creatives love helping other creatives. I truly believe that, and have input, and go to them and be like, listen, I want to help your cause, and right here's how I can help it. And it's just my donation. You can sell this item with this awesome image on it. You can do XYZ with it. And I just, from having a fundraising background, I've seen a lot of awesome efforts, and a lot of really well done things end up in the trash. And it's like, well, why? My thing would be, if someone's buying money for a great cause and an exchange of energy, the item they want, I want it to hang around and broadcast to advertising, like show that off.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
So that's something that a lot of times you're doing a fun run, or you're doing something and it has the date, but that doesn't really have a good longevity of a piece. So when you're thinking about actual items that would be on sale at any kind of retail location, they wouldn't have the date on there, because you want it to have a longer shelf life. So this is when you showed me this, and we were talking about this last week, I was like, oh my goodness, this seems like a mind blower a little bit. Like, why don't people do this? So I'm going to pull up this piece that you did recently. I think the hat stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. I have it open. Where? Oh, there we go. And this picture is the one that's showing first. This is not the one, but I love this picture.
Oh my goodness, that was such a fun day. We were actually out on site doing quality work. I was being responsible, believe it or not. And we were doing a photo shoot for the President's Club materials. And I was like, wow, this is there it is. And I meandered off, and I couldn't help but pose. Yeah.
So I love that. Okay, so let's go back to, so you're actually doing fundraising and stuff like that, even with Ohio State. Obviously, that's your job. One of the jobs, the hands that you have.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is one of them. This is part of that same thing?
That was the original one. That was the idea that kicked it all off. To quickly summarize how it started, I, being a survivor, people know I can make things, so I kind of put it out there to the people I know, reps, said, hey, I want to volunteer some artwork and things like that. and didn't know who it was going to go to, didn't know how it was going to present itself. I just made the commitment to where if opportunity arose, we're going to do something and we're going to do it right. Like we're going to make something, we're going to make something affordable, we're going to make something easy to make, make it worth the effort all the way around.
Right.
So that's where the cap came about. We have a large fundraising team here that partners with Pelotonia. Team Buckeye is our large team. And from there, we have smaller teams. I am on Team Advancement, Pelotonia. We have multiple others. It is an awesome, serious deal here. And I ran into the opportunity knowing the team captain back then. They had just had jerseys. They just had shorts and a small other pieces, accoutrement, things like that. I thought, oh my God, I make this kind of stuff all the time, but I've never made a hat. I think I want to make a hat, because every racer that I know, I am not a cyclist, but everyone, I have friends that are, and they always had their cool little hat with a cool little bill. And I always loved the hats. I didn't care so much for the 180-mile rides, but I love the hats because the bill turns up, and I was like, yeah. So the opportunity arose. I proposed the idea with the artwork. They liked it so much it was taken to friends and finances, and they found a way to finance it for the team. And once all of that was made back, all of the profits and everything were directed via a small app right into our team's Peloton page. So once we had the objects in hand, we meandered down to Pelotonia, and I determined that the cost should be a $20 bill flat up. It's easy to get at. I try to think about every touch point in this to make it smooth and easy. And a good cause helps. Anybody will help in with a good cause if you make it accessible enough.
Right.
Make it worth it. So that also brings me why there's no date or no dating or things like that. It's just you hit it perfectly. Don't add a shelf life. I mean, and my logic is if every one of you listening were to go in your closet, flip through your favorite T-shirts, flip through your favorite, whatever, band shirts, all that, like band shirts, all right, the dates and things on back, but your favorite everyday garb, it's not marked dated. Or it's not dated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my thought is approaching this is when you make these objects for fundraising, when you make this for people to, help, make the item hang around for a while, make it something they get attached to.
More retail.
Yeah.
Have more of a retail focus.
If you make it an amazing thing, where'd you get that cool hat? Oh, it's a fundraiser, man. You donate XYZ, you get one. Oh, okay. That was the thought behind it. Ease, affordability, longevity with it. I mean, I would love to see my hats go on, people wearing them for years or things like that, or things I've helped make, because, I like to have cool things that last a while. So,
Absolutely. So talk to us about this series. So you did a trucker hat, a street cap. I think that's the one that the biker cap, I think, and speed racer. There's your checkers again, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Child of the 80s. I worship checkered vans. So, and that's where it comes from. I have this crazy love of vans and checkered vans. I've worn them since 8th grade, 110 years ago. I had to incorporate it. In the race, I have a fun thing about lightning bolts and all that. It just says speed and biking and crazy. So, and then it was a natural fit for the branding.
So then talk to us about this, because this kind of seems like something that's going. So it's the arrows, but then there's also these kind of 4 corners, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's Ohio or if that's
it is Ohio, and I'm not sure. You'll forgive me. It should be a gray Ohio back there. For some reason, it didn't pop through, but it's basically a offset multiplied shadow of Ohio. The X in it is actually from Pelotoni's branding. This is the 10th anniversary that Ohio State has partnered with Pelotonia, so the Roman numeral X is graphically was an awesome thing. Cool. So this is their branding. I just arranged their branding that matches our current uniforms. So, like
So
the
the
pat,
arrow.
yep, the arrows on the uniforms, the
Mm,
red, obviously, it's all over the thing. The X on the uniform is on the back, a large. You'll forgive me, I don't have an example of it because I think it's still kind of proprietary now.
right,
But
right.
yeah, it was directly um, visually borrowed and made into the hat for possible fundraising. And the thought was they'll be able to purchase a full uniform plus
Right.
appeal to everyone's awesome fundraising skills. So
Right. So, but it really taking the idea of retail and bringing it to fundraising, which seems new to me. I don't hear that a lot. So I think that what you're doing is really forward
thank you.
thinking. And I really like that. I think that's a smart way to do it. Um, so as you continue, as you're in your 6th year, or I guess 5th year of freedom, I guess, from cancer.
Yeah,
But
my rebirth day.
yeah, your rebirth day. But it sounds like it was, although it was a very terrible fight, it sounds like, I don't know if you would change it. I think that it has changed you in such an amazing way that you maybe can look at it as a blessing. Maybe not the actual bit, but just how it made you adjust how you think about other people and life and just everything, right?
Yeah, my father would tell me when I was young that adversity will breed character.
Mm,
You choose what that character is, but it will breed character. So I can honestly wake up every day due to the scare of my life and say that I am simply happy to be here. And then you add in the fact I get to go play with Sharpies. I get to help out raise money. I get, well, honestly, I'm goofy on purpose. I get to raise spirits. I
mm.
get to talk to these wonderful people about my silly experience. Like, yeah, it's it's crazy to say, but I think that ordeal and cancer actually helped me. And I hope that doesn't sound morbid. Like I don't want to, but it taught me a way of perspective that, yeah, it was just such a good lesson. It's mandatory I pass it on.
So one of the things when I met the woman who works with you, she was so adamant about, and I think it's your character and it's your humor. I also think it's your energy. You just have this like 14-year-old boy inside you, I think, that just,
16,
you just
I like to drive.
16. Okay. Well, maybe you're 14 and you just are a rebel.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
driving anyway.
yeah, exactly. That's what I think more about you, because I think you're like, well, that may be how it is for most people, but I'm okay driving at 14.
Am I allowed to plead the fifth online?
Sure. So, but to me, Jason, once I talk to you, and you do have an incredible story, but you also continually turn it around and just lift other people up. So it's like a mirror. I feel like you just keep making things brighter. You just add another mirror so that everybody gets shined on. And I really like that. I think that we need more people like you in the world so that everybody else can feel a little bit better about what they're doing, and they are making an impact. And I think for you, you had made such an impact on your coworker that as I asked, hey, if you have anybody, she said, oh my goodness, you've got to interview Jason. And I am really glad. So we're almost done. So I know you've worked in the industry for over 20 years. I think you and I don't know how old you are.
I'm 45. I know.
Okay, me too.
45. Yep.
Yeah. So we're the same age. So
We're adults. We're
that's
adults.
right. Not quite. Not yet. Hopefully.
No way.
But so you've been in the industry. One of the things I feel like a lot of people do, and I don't know if this is where you were before, but before cancer, you have to stay in the industry that long is really a feat, because a lot of times we get beat down or we don't. And one of the things I think you love is, just from talking to you these 3 times that we've talked, is that you really embrace helping other people, whether it's the client, helping the client get what they need, or it's a coworker or whatever. Like, you really enjoy helping people. And I feel like that's a characteristic of a good designer. It's not necessarily getting my idea out, but it's about helping other people. So how do you keep a positive attitude in 20 years or over 20 years? And what's the secret to that happiness at work? Because I think that can be a challenge for a lot of people.
I just to address one thing I saw in some comments in the statement, people were like, how do you not get burnout? I've been burnt out quite a few times. It's part of it. Like, you don't do anything for a long time without going, what am I doing? Like, yeah. But at that point, I think we all have the ability to say, you know what, you got to work and eat. You got to pay your bills. I mean, at least the way I was raised, you got to contribute that far. So how do you want to do it? Like, for real, let's be real here with everything. Getting burnout's part of it. You'll have to work and reinvigorate yourself. That's work. Yes, it's tiring, but it's so worth it. It really is. I mean, look, it's called work for a reason. If it were fun, it would be a hobby. I know, but like, it's work to enjoy work. Like, I know that sounds like what, but I kind of approach it like, yes, the projects are important. The message is very important to me. I take it serious here about selling education. Like, but you can approach it with a smile. There's no reason things can't be serious and fun. They do not have to be mutually. Like, you can smile and tell jokes and then sit down and sketch out an amazing campus campaign that just an award-winning while you guys are shooting rubber bands at each other, or, I don't know, watch your eyes. But it's not, you have to make it fun your way. Like, what's appropriate, read the environment, obviously, but I've kind of grown up as a class clown in an appropriate manner. When it comes
what number kid were you?
I'm an only child. I have a stepbrother who is older. I'm the youngest of the three of where I grew up. Yeah, I do act like the little one sometimes, but
I'm a little one too, just saying.
That's why we're in the creative field. Yeah. It's there's no magic pill for this. You just have to come to realization that what we all do as creatives is a privilege. I mean, it really, yes, you get burned out. You get the wrong person in charge that loves pink, and you are for a blue branded company and you don't understand, and it's daily. That can grind on you. You've got to take a little charge and say, okay, that is what it is. We're going to have to make pink stuff, but I'm going to do maybe that's the perfect opportunity to say, hey, I love fighting cancer. It did XYZ to my family, and I hate it. It did XYZ to me. I hate it. So I'm going to take that anger that I can't, or channel that energy that I can't do here. I'll put it over here. Same process, same everything. Just take what you want to do here that you may not be able to do. Take it as something that you use a worthy cause to you personally. Put the same efforts in. You be the art director. You tell them up front there'll be no pink. And and see if that works out. I mean, it may be a totally backwards way than what we're used to. It's usually come up with things, you submit to a group, they give their feedback. Maybe it's time, but if you find something you want to participate in, you just be your own group. Be professional, be open to the client's needs for real, and take the lead more, because do it not for the money, do it for yourself and for the good cause, like for the therapy for you and for the true help on your good cause there. Everything else in between is noise.
I love how you said it in the beginning. You said, I have something I'd like to talk to you about that I'd like to donate. I love that, because so often we think of this as just something in us and we don't value. It's not something that we value, but the way you said it was so valued, right?
Let me tell you, some of the work that we've all done, I've seen, like I'll sum it all up. A creative mind. We all have that. That is the most valuable thing, the most important thing. Every creative that's listening to me on here, kudos to you. Don't ever lose it. Don't ever stop using it, because all the amazing things you've ever run into in your life, everything from cars, clothing, toys, comics, everything, that came from a sketch and a creative mind. it just is what it is. This for me, Stan Lee was just an ink jockey at one point, little kid,
Right.
scared sitting somewhere. We all were. Like, he just was diligent about what he loved.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Jason. So it's 2:30 or 3:30 your time, 2:30 my time. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
You
You have a card for that.
I do. I have a stack of them. I just want to make sure. Like I said,
I do. I've been going through and I took notes. So see, here are my notes I've taken, and then I have them all pretty much ticked off except a few.
And everyone will forgive me for rambling. It's a privilege to be here. So I like want to give my knowledge away, and hopefully it helps someone somewhere. And if anyone would like to discuss anything about any type of the cancer treatment or anything, even offline, it has nothing to do with design or the crazy art field. If someone says, "Hey man, my best friend's in it, my brother's in it, my mom's in it," whatever, you gladly supply my email. Feel free to email me all. I may not get right back to you, but I will get back with you. Like it's in any advice I can tell you the honest truth of my story, what worked, what didn't, and I will gladly help. Yeah. Awesome. Emails are cheap. They're free,
Yeah.
Look, 5 minutes a time, whatever.
Right. So that one is the mighty. Oops, it's mighty, right?
Yes, ma'am. Mighty.
Yeah, the mighty Shults, SHULTS @gmail.com. And then you can also follow him on Instagram. Same thing. Maybe there it is. Correct. And then on Instagram, it's the mighty Shults, and it's a private account, but he will accept you as a friend.
Yes, I will.
Oh, okay.
I opened it up. Forgive my online savvy. It's kind of old manish.
No. So a couple questions from the audience.
Yes.
One, who's your favorite rock band? Ann wants to know.
Oh my goodness. My favorite rock band would have to be Clutch.
Okay.
Yes. I have a lot though. It's not one of those things like when I hit play and shuffle, like in just a few minutes, I had the Beastie Boys with Root Down going. And it's like, yes. So music is an integral part of creation, I believe. Like for me, I love it. So.
For sure. All right. So Joey, she's in Hawaii and she comes a lot. So she said she really appreciates the talk. She has a friend and a fellow creative who's going through treatment now for metastatic neuroblastoma. I don't know what, something in your head?
Yes, I do. You know what? If you would like to talk offline, if you want to email anything, you please feel free. Stay true to them. Make sure you're there. Yeah, I'm probably preaching to the choir on this one since you asked, but just make sure they know you're there and show them that you care. Like, you're awesome creative. Make them a card. Sit down, doodle it out, go silly things like that.
And just, I think what Bob did for you was just, if he thought of something that he thought you would like, he got it. Even if it was just small, like a poster, right? And it wasn't something you ordered, but
I had no idea it was coming.
Right.
I had no idea it was coming. It is great. It was an awesome post. Like it was $110 print. I'm like, wow. And I'm like, $110, man. And he's like, dude, you're worth way more than that to me. So it will make a difference. You show them your heart and you give them love and you support them, and it will show. And just, they're not going to ask for help. Everyone, for some reason involved in this, they get stubborn. They get that imposter syndrome where they're not sure if they're worthy to act. All these silly reasons. We're all worthy for help.
Right.
Yeah. So and please tell your friend they have my love. And if you need anything, hang in there. This can be done. You can beat this stuff.
So Anne wants to tell you, Jason, I'm so glad you beat cancer. My dad lost his battle 3 months after he was diagnosed. You are an inspiration. So
I am very sorry for your loss. And I appreciate the kudos. So yeah.
It is a really amazing story. And I just think it's not just that you beat it, because that's an amazing story in itself. But it's that you've that you don't feel like the battle is over just because you specifically won. Now you want to help eradicate this thing. And I just think I just love that part.
Next time people sit down at their dinner table, 1 and 3. I mean, that to me is why we should be vigilant, because it's, and truly, I've learned that if you're having a bad day, if you make the effort to go improve someone else's day, you're going to feel better. You're going to be like, wow, like, and it's a way of helping yourself, as silly as it sounds. When you help someone worse off than you, like, it kind of teaches you, like, oh, I don't have it so bad. Like, things are, you know what? So that's kind of why I did it. I just, it was bad enough that I had to help somehow.
I love that. Well, Jason, thank you so much. I just want to, again, thank you. Super inspiring story. I'm really glad that you came on and you decked out in your Ohio State colors with your checkered tie. I asked him, I was like, do you have to wear that? Because every other time I haven't seen him all dressed up. And I said, do you have to wear that to work? Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, I'm representing the brand today.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's a privilege. So, dress up.
I love it. So next week, we are also on a different day. So next week, look out for Tara Victoria and Brad Weaver are going to be on, and they're going to be talking about the Soar. This is something that they've created, and this is, as you are battling depression and anxiety, a lot of creatives do this. There's all kinds of things, disappointing people, things that we go through in our head, and they created this kind of group, I guess. It's an outlet so that you can always see when you're out there deep in the ocean, you can always still see the shore.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool I can't wait for them to tell you about it. I can't wait for them to tell you kind of their story. So tune in on Thursday next week, same regular time. So if you're new, we do this every week, and we're doing a whole month of this. So last week we had Christo kind of played a little bit on the last theme, and then this theme, and then just about from struggle to soar. And so we did Jason today, and we have somebody in 2 weeks. Drew and Whitney Hill are going to be on talking about financial peace, because they have gotten completely out of debt. And it was a lot of debt. So I'm excited to have them on. And so anyway, for the whole month of June, that's what we're doing. And then I just have one guest in July, and I'm taking July off, hopefully, to redesign the website. Awesome. So if you guys want to follow me, you're welcome to at Design Recharge on Twitter, Instagram. And then again, remember to follow Jason at The Mighty, MIGHTY SHULTS. Oh, there you go.
Backwards, I know. I was saying
it's not backwards. It's not backwards to me.
Okay.
Everything
looks hi to my daughters.
Oh, that's so sweet, Jason. Anyway, well, guys, thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you very much. It was awesome.